This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome, you are in the lab room. Of course, I am your host, Louie. Thank you for joining me. This is the NFL Draft Prospects 101. Your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names of the 2015 NFL Draft. I am back. It seems like it's been forever since I've been able to bless you with one of these draft breakdowns. There's been a lot going on between these breakdowns, me watching film. I told you I went on vacation. I've come back and I'm working on the mock draft. Be on the lookout for that mock draft. Speaking of which, it'll be out sometime this week. Keep your eyes peeled. So there's a lot going on. I'm also working on something else, a bigger project. I'll tell you about that later on down the line. You don't need to concern yourself with that right now. Let's talk about some draft prospects. We're still talking defensive line. We broke down three of the bigger names in this draft, and of course, Leonard Williams, Danny Shelton, and Malcolm Brown. Let's talk about some lesser known names, some guys that still could sneak in the back portion of the first round. We'll start with Arik Armstead of Oregon. Here's a mountainous, big, mammoth man standing at 6'7", 292 pounds. That's where we start with his pros, is his size. I think his size, his length, his sheer girth has talent evaluators and scouts everywhere drooling at the prospects of what this man could be at the next level. His size alone is going to intrigue and tantalize some NFL team into picking him in the first round. Raw strength, another pro for Arik Armstead. Here's a guy that is just country strong. We're talking about cornbread eating, wood chopping strong. And when he uses that strength, the guy is borderline unblockable. Problem is, you don't see it enough. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But when he does show those flashes of this brute strength, the guy is dominant with a capital D. Need to see more of it. However, can and often will stand up at the point of attack. I just talked about that strength, and he uses it many times to stand up at the point of attack, doesn't give ground, and you'd love to see him stack and shed better, discard the offensive lineman, get to the ball carrier, make more plays. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later on as well, but he stands up at the point of attack, and that's half the battle. Half of stacking and shedding is being able to stack. He doesn't have a problem with that. Shedding is the issue with him, but sometimes as a defensive lineman, your job isn't to make the play. Your job is to stand your ground. Don't allow a cutback. Don't get blown out of the gap. Just staying where you are, holding your ground, and allowing a linebacker to roam free and make the play sometimes is all you need to do. Arik Armstead can do that. He can stand up at the point of attack. He's got an arsenal of moves, and there's a number of different ways he can get into the backfield. Sometimes he'll show off some quickness and just knife into the backfield. Sometimes he'll give you a rip move. Sometimes he'll give you a swim move. Sometimes he'll even bless you with a spin move. We've seen that, and I talked about the brute strength. Well, then you know there's a bull rush coming at some point as well. So there are a number of ways that he can use his different gifts to get into the backfield. Again, just need to see more of it. But again, these are part of the reasons why people are drooling over the prospects of what he can be down the road. A lot of tools here, just want him to tap into them and use them more often. Commands a double team. When you're this big at 6'7", 292, when you can be as strong as this guy is, when you have the arsenal of moves that I just talked about, a lot of times you're going to garner double teams, and he does. And I thought he did a pretty good job of holding up against those double teams. And again, A lot of times when you're on the defensive line, especially if you're in a 3-4 defense, your job isn't necessarily to make plays, but what you can do for others. And when you command a double team, somebody else is getting freed up one-on-one, okay? You're getting double teamed, somebody else should be benefiting from you standing up to a double team, and Arik Armstead does it like nobody's business. So again, something else that he does really well, standing up to double teams. Outstanding upside. And to me, this is by far the one trait that Arik Armstead has over just about any of the other, and this includes Leonard Williams, any of the other defensive linemen in this draft, is his upside. I don't think there is another. Now, he's a boom or bust guy. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But I'll tell you right now, his upside is outstanding. Somebody's going to fall in love with what they think he's going to be in 3 years, 4 years down the road, and ignore what's on tape. And so, speaking of which, let's jump into the cons. I've been kind of alluding as to what I'm going to get at when we're talking about cons for Arik Armstead. Let's jump into them one by one. Lack of production. To me, tape speaks for itself. You know, we can sit here, we can toss around attributes and things he does well and doesn't do well, but production, numbers don't lie. You can make numbers dance and say what you want them to say, but I tell you this much, numbers don't lie. People lie, pictures lie, numbers do not lie. You can make them dance and tell a different story, they don't lie, okay? People make numbers lie, numbers don't lie. And his production or lack thereof at Oregon scares me. And when you put on the tape, you don't see enough plays being. Let's go to the next con. Let's just go ahead and lump these together. Doesn't make enough impact plays. And it really annoyed me because you see this guy, he's huge. You're thinking he's going to make a difference. Make a difference. And then you watch the entire game and you're like, did he play? And now you can't ignore him. You can't miss him. He's 6'7". He's the biggest guy most likely on the field. He's definitely by far the biggest guy on the defensive side of football for sure. So you know if he's on the field or not. There's no doubt about it. But you expect him to make some flash plays. Maybe tip a ball in the air and have it get picked off. You know, maybe get in the backfield and tackle a guy for a 4-yard loss in the backfield. You know, grab a running back that thinks he's getting away. No, you're not. Long arm of the law, snatch him, bring him down. You're expecting one of those plays. You're like, man, there's that kid again. There's Arik Armstead making a play. No, doesn't happen. Very rare to see this guy jump out and do something extraordinary, at least tapes that I watched. And so those are the questions you have. Where's the production? Where's the impact plays? Why should you be a first-round pick? Hell, why should I even invest an early second-round pick on you? I don't see the production. I don't see the impact. I already told you why a team's going to do this. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. Again, doesn't use his length enough. Very frustrating. What are you doing? You're 6'7", dude. Okay, so you're not getting to the quarterback. You know what I want you to do? I don't want you to do anything else if you're not getting to the quarterback. Put your hands up. No, stop there. Put your hands down. Okay, put your hands up. Put your hands up, man. You're 6'7". Put your hands up. Something is bound to happen. Batted ball, obstructed view for the quarterback. Something. Do anything. Don't keep your hands down. You're a long guy. Okay, so you're rushing after the quarterback. Put your arms out there, extend them. You got some stretch Armstrongs, man. Stretch them out there. Get your arms on the tackle, on the guard, on the center before they get their arms on you. Extend them. Put that extendo clip out there and redirect that tackle, that guard, that center, wherever you want them to go, get to the ball carrier. Doesn't use his length enough. I want him to be more willing to use those limbs. He's got tree limbs. Stretch one out there and make something happen. No pod. No paw of doom. He's not stopping anybody dead in their tracks. He's not shutting it down with his arm. He's not getting blocked and then just sticks it out there and makes something happen. He's not going along for the ride. None of that. There's no pod to do, no trace of a pod, no paw of doom whatsoever. Doesn't hustle to the football enough to my liking. Now, you might watch the tape and see something different. He might watch the tape and see something different. When I watch the tape, I don't see a guy that is desperate, that is hungry, that will do whatever it takes to get to the football on every snap, okay? I've said this before, I'll say it again. Give me 11 Danny Sheltons. I want the guy that's going to do everything in his power to get to the football. I want the guy that is dead tired, been on the field for 13 straight snaps, and the guy is going like it's his first snap on the field, okay? I want the guy that even though there's only 35% left in the tank, I know I'm getting 100% of that 35% that he's got left in the tank. I don't feel that way when I watch Arik Armstead on tape. I don't feel like he's doing everything in his power to get to the football. When it goes away from him, I don't feel like I'm getting that extra concerted effort to get to the football. In other words, I want to see you hustle more. You never know what's going to happen on any given play. Just get to the football. Good things always happen to those who find the football. And so I said all of that to say this. Somebody's going to fall in love with Arik Armstead and his height and his upside and what they feel like he can be in 3 or 4 years down the road. You can't feel good about what you saw on tape consistently from this guy and feel like he's a first round pick. You've got to be drafting him off of what you think he will be, not what you think he is at this moment. If it were me, he would not be even in the discussion in the first round for me. But because of his size and the upside, somebody's going to take Arik Armstead off the board somewhere in the first round. The 2015 NFL Draft. And that's going to do it for Arik Armstead and his NFL Draft Prospects 101 breakdown. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I've got more big boys to talk about. Won't you come on back and join me? There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.